Thanks again for inviting me for this to share with you my experience about education architecture. Uh, I want to begin by a sentence I used um, 2 years ago to start my speech in architecture Arabic awards in Beirut, and uh, it's about if illiteracy was a man, I would have killed him. It sounds a little bit violent, but it's really what I'm thinking about it. 8.6 million Moroccans are unable to read and write, and in and this number exceeds the entire population of some countries like Jordan or Lebanon, and so the need for the schools is very high. Some public companies are participating in this effort, such as the OCP Group, which is the client of the two projects that I will present to you this evening. OCP was found in 1920 to manage the phosphate mines in Morocco, and today is it the world leader in phosphate products around the world. At the beginning of the OCP activities, the working conditions, as you can see in the pictures, were very difficult and very dangerous for the workers. This situation led the workers to fight for many years to improve their working and living conditions for themselves and their families, including the deconstruction of schools for their own children. In this context, we had the chance in 2015 to win the architecture competition for the construction of a middle school in El Jadida, a port city of the Atlantic coast of Morocco, located 100 kilometers southwest of Casablanca. It is the city known worldwide for its rich heritage, especially the Portuguese city, which is classified as UNESCO World Heritage Site. And very close to our projects. That's why it was the beginning of our idea of Bono knowledge. In this map, you can see that our project is the second step of a larger pedagogical program in this area. And the first step was the construction of elementary school next to the workers' housing. The photo of the site can show two different architectural expressions. The white workers' housing in the east and different Osher buildings in the west. And in the southern part of the plot was used as football field we decided to keep since the beginning. This is a video showing how we shaped our project through the constraints of the context. The irregular shape of the plot lead us to divide it in three parts, easy to design, while keeping it football field to serve the future building in the south. And we managed to open the views on both sides of the main building. And we created the central courtyard inspired by the Patio of Madrasas, that's famous traditional schools in Morocco that we can find in Fez and Marrakesh. We used the sports hall roof as a bleachers for outdoor sport and cultural activities like music or theater. And we create a large fourth court in the front of the school as meeting space for visitors and students' parents. We used trees as a screen in order to preserve the privacy of the neighbors and reduce noise and pollutions. And the project is composed of two buildings. The sport hall is located on the north side, and the educational building is composed of three important parts: general classrooms in the south side, and scientific and technical classrooms in the north. And on the west side, common spaces such as the library and the auditorium. The main facade of the project is an extension of the square floor. It have hermetic and protective character that thanks to the use of local stone. It is a kind of a tribute. It was felt like that by us. It was a kind of tribute to the architecture of the Portuguese city that I talked about. And the facade also contain a metallic Musharabia skin adorned with a universal alphabet to symbolize tolerance. The lobby was designed to be open. A large part of the auditorium on the first floor is overhanging to free the entrance space from walls and columns. We tried to create a unique atmosphere in the space thanks to the play of light and shadows as a symbol of knowledge. Yes, this is a detail of the what we called universal alphabet. It's kind of mix of a lot of alphabets around the world, different cultures. And the project is introverted, and its external relationship is limited to protect the interior from noise and prying eyes. It takes the same functional schemes of the old traditional Moroccan schools called madrasa, especially the central courtyard, which serves as a meeting space with osher mineral carpets, as you can see in this picture. The auditorium was for us the opportunity to express truth colors, the place of each individual within the group, and the right to be different. This is the prayer room, and the minimal design truth, white walls, soft net lights, and the beautiful Arabic calligraphy helped us to create a spiritual atmosphere in this space. And we also used the floor as a way to show each place of the prayer. How to say it? The gray gradient of the floor represents one place of a prayer. The clear lines of library interior provide an inspirational atmosphere, very conducive to thinking and meditation. The interior walls of other classrooms serves as learning support through codes and graphic which invite students and teaching staff to open-mindedness and self-transcendence. As this one that was inspired by Interstellar movie. And The other facades of the main building express the relationship of the school to the surrounding buildings, truth, whiteness, and masses. We also focused on the sport area because of its positive impact on the mental and physical health of the children. In addition to aesthetic, we worked on night lights to provide safety feeling for pedestrians. And we could also say that the architecture of the building is different from the surrounding housing because of its scale, materials, and monumental character, making it a kind of urban landmark in this area. I want to speak now about the second project. The project of Wall of Knowledge that I explained before was very successful. Then the client gave us a direct order in 2017 for the construction of the high school in the southern part, and we choose the name of Concrete French History for the second project, especially about material we use it for. The large pedestrian axis has been placed away from the parking you see in the blue part, and we did that to ensure the safety of the students and to reduce the number of cars in front of the main entrance. In order to simplify the management of the number of students and staff, the school is entirely autonomous. However, future students will have access to the sports hall and auditorium of the adjoining middle school, the first one, Wall of Knowledge. The sport area of the new part has been placed in the middle of the two buildings to allow its sharing between middle school and high school. And for more safety, it remains accessible from the college or the middle school through an interior door. The location of the teaching building was chosen to provide unobstructed views from all the existing building, especially from the workers' apartments. This decision made it possible to decongest this area and ensure good cohabitation between neighbors. The compactness of the project allows us to shorten the distances traveled by users. And in the front of the main entrance, a large public square acts as a transition between the high school and its surrounding, encouraging social contact between parents while providing a safe space for children away from vehicles when leaving classes. The large food court serves as a mineral carpet that highlights the architecture of the building. This is a small video showing how the architectural heritage of this city was inspiring for our project. It's especially about the use of the character of Portuguese city walls in the drawing of the stairs, and the screen on the facade, the white screen on the facade is inspired by Musharabi. The combination of different types of concretes pay tribute to great masters of modern architecture in Morocco, like Mr. Zevako and Mr. Azaguri, or Farawi and Domazir. And to integrate the building into its context, the architecture was inspired by local heritage, as I said, of the Portuguese city, drawing its inspiration from the city walls. The staircase takes charge of vertical movement as symbolic existence with a strong centrifugal force so that it could be seen from the outside. The white envelope of GRC panels plays the same function of the musharabia, as I said, but as protection against the excessive heat of the sun and also as a screen sculpting the daylight, bringing poetry and spirituality inside interior spaces. The interior lobby, most important detail is the lobby is the sculptural work of the ceiling that you can see in the pictures. It takes up the geometry of the GRC panels, and this space is also animated by the rhythm of the columns in smooth roof concrete. In this picture, you can see that it looks like marble aspects, and the ceiling of administration space is also a variation of the detail of the GRC pattern and also the small opening of the staircase. We used this geometry in too many details around the project. The visible structure, concrete structure in the central corridor serves as a support for signs that help visitors find their way through the project. Simplicity, color, and light are the keywords to describe the different interiors atmospheres. And the back facade uses the same language of the main facade to ensure the harmony of the whole building. The parametric design of the GRC void is revealed at night by the interior lights, and it gives life to the monolithic masses that forms the building. I want to finish by a sentence in Arabic, if you let me. For me, it's the most important idea of the two projects. الأجمل من هذين البنائين من حجر هو قدرتهما على بناء البشر. شكرا. Thanks to all the audience for your time. And
thank you, okay, Tarik. And you already asked everyone if they have questions, the attendees, so we can write it down now.
I'm sorry, by the way, for my English, because all my architecture studies were in French. I tried my best to be the most
thank you.
clear.
It was clear. يعني at least we are connecting with you from our area with your area. This is very efficient now.
Cool.
Okay, so the first question from Anas. The first question from Anas: how can architects keep harmony in our in our diversity we are living now?
Yes, this is a huge question. I think it can begin by understanding the context. Renzo Piano talks a lot about genius loci, the genius of the place. And if we want to be in harmony with the context, we need to understand this place, to spend a lot of time in the space to understand what is the most important in this place, the memory of this context, the views, the buildings, the surrounding, and when we do that, we can understand that some things are more important than others, and we can then try to be inspired by this kind of things in this place. Like the Portuguese city I was talking about, it's the most important. It's the flagship monument of the city. That's why we were focused on the history of this place, on the materiality of this place, using the stones, using the curtain steel to create the same atmosphere, and I hope it's enough.
Yes.
Like answer.
Okay, we have another question from Andrea Oshiti. He's saying, I was wondering if you can explain how important is to find the good balance between the global ambitions and local traditions in your projects.
Yes. That's what we are trying to do in our projects, all our projects, to not be in a mimetic approach. We have to try to reinterpret the historical heritage and the architectural heritage of the place in a way, in a contemporary way, truth, simplicity, truth, new technologies, and truth, new tools we can use in our time, and the balance is something, how to say it, it's we have to try to, the keyword is simplicity, I think. If we take things of our heritage, there are a lot of details, a lot of patterns, a lot of, and I think if we are simple enough in the shapes and colors and the association of all of this stuff, we can have something that looks at the same time contemporary and inspired by memory of place.
We have voice question from Uthman.
Yes.
Uthman, yes.
هل يمكن أن أسأل بالعربي؟
أحسن.
تفضل.
شكرا على لا بريزونطاسيون. أنا مغربي بس صعب أسأل أيضا إن بالعربية أيضا.
اسأل المهندس طارق كما تحب وهو حيشرح لنا السؤال.
أوكي. بغيت نسولك كيفاش كتانتربريتي لي ريفيرونس ديال إلي أزاغوري وزيفاكو وكيفاش كتعاود تلقاهم في لي زاركتيكتور اللي كدير؟
How to say it in English? The question is about how we was inspired by great masters of modern architecture in Morocco through the use of concrete. And I will start by answering in French Mr. Othman. And after that, I will try to translate. Le travail qu'on a fait pour s'inspirer de l'architecture de gens comme Zevako se traduit principalement par le matériau, c'est-à-dire le choix du béton est quelque chose de primordial parce que c'est quelque chose qui était très central dans le travail d'architectes comme Zevako et comme de Mazir, ainsi de suite. Donc, effectivement, on a essayé au maximum d'éviter de copier leur travail, mais c'est dans la manière de traduire l'authenticité du matériau et de refléter la vérité dans l'usage du matériau, sans l'habiller par de la peinture ou par de l'enduit, ainsi de suite, mais de le laisser dans son état naturel. C'est ce qui a permis de lui donner ce côté un peu vrai et authentique, pas fake, pas faux semblant. Et c'est quelque chose c'est une constante dans le travail de gens comme Jean-François Zevako et compagnie. Donc, c'est plutôt dans la philosophie de l'usage du matériau béton que nous avons essayé de s'inspirer de leur travail et de leur rendre hommage. En tout cas, pas dans la forme, parce que justement, des gens comme, je vais parler principalement de Zevako, on est dans le travail sculptural et on est dans le travail de recherche plastique, ainsi de suite. Nous, on est sur des formes plus simples, mais voilà, mais le béton, on a essayé de l'utiliser de la manière la plus authentique et la plus vraie possible, à travers quelques petites astuces, en travaillant sur, par exemple, cette surface lisse qu'on a réussi avec... ça pourrait paraître comme une blague, mais on avait utilisé des canalisations de plastique pour avoir cet aspect lisse et ça avait coûté moins cher que des coffrages professionnels. Et on a aussi utilisé ça dans les poteaux avec de l'aggloméré découpé au laser pour retrouver ce genre d'empreinte de signalisation, ainsi de suite. Et quelques petites astuces comme ça. On a aussi utilisé le béton teinté dans la masse pour les volumes que vous avez vus sur les cages d'escalier, comme celle-ci. C'est du béton teinté dans la masse qui rappelle un peu les murailles et en même temps, voilà. Donc, pour résumer, c'est principalement le travail de manière sincère et authentique du béton. Donc, j'espère avoir répondu à ta question. Je vais essayer de traduire, mais en bref, en anglais. What I said to my friend Othman, that we tried to interpret the architecture of the great masters of modern architecture in Morocco, like Zevako, by using the concrete in different ways. But the most important keyword in this approach was the truth. We tried to use the concrete in a way it can translate authenticity and not something fake, you know. It's about the materiality and the truth of the materiality, without coating, without colors on it, without revêtement. Comment dire revêtement?
Natural material as is.
Yes, that's what we tried to use. Yeah.
We still have some questions. Okay, this is from Johanna. When we see this huge work and how they affected positively students' life, what kind of spaces we need today in this pandemic for a good process of education? Despite, I will add, despite the fact that we might have a vaccine next year, but
if I didn't hear the beginning of the question,
Let
but
me
if
read
I
it.
understand, it's about post-COVID way of
Education.
doing architecture, education architecture.
Yes.
Okay, I think you know I want to begin by a great quote of Louis Kahn that I love a lot. He said the school begin in one day. An old man was standing under a tree, and he started to telling things to a group of person, and it was the beginning of the school. It means that to build a school, we don't need walls, we don't need spaces and roofs and other things. We only need good conditions and someone who had something who have something interesting to share with others. Then we can imagine the future of education as free spaces, as open as possible. And in these spaces, people can just share experiences, and some functional stuff can be also studied, like ventilation, like lighting, and like. But the most important thing in the future is to think about outdoor activity and openness in the education spaces. It makes me think about Lacaton et Vassal. They are French architects, and they worked a lot on this kind of stuff, opening spaces, and they built architecture school in Nantes, in France, that is totally open. No limits, no walls, and no difference between first year or second year or third year, and so on.
There's a comment from Anas. A lot of people say that engineering is now gaining more importance on architecture. We talk about the difficulties that architects can find during the process than the architectural aspect. What do you think?
Yes, we are always suffering with this kind of stuff about structure, about how things can be made, and I think the way is to be sure that about the result we want, and to try to find solutions, and not to use the first solution suggested by the teams, but using experiments to try to find the best solution for the result you're looking for.
Okay, we are waiting if anyone have more questions, or we can wrap up. So we will wait a few seconds if anyone can send or raise hand.
Yeah.
I think we can wrap up.
Okay.
Okay, thank you again for this fabulous presentation and projects. And
Honored.
yeah, and thank everyone who was with us tonight. And see you soon.
See you.
Take
Thanks a
care.
lot.
مع
Take
السلامة.
care of you. Assalam.